Today's movie's a special request from Patreon supporter Jesse Myers, who asked me to review the movie Battle Beyond the Stars. Alright, this means I get to do a Roger Corman movie and a Star Wars knockoff at the same time. Now let's see, what was the last Roger Corman movie I did on this show? Oh yeah. Well, hopefully he's a little less rapey this time. Well, we've already seen what happens when Roger Corman tries to cash in on Alien, namely a whole lot of monster rape. So now let's take a look at his attempt to get a piece of that sweet Star Wars box office magic. I mean, sure, there was already Star Crash, but that was an Italian movie that Corman distributed in America. This time, he was going to produce his own Star Wars cash-in. Actually, labeling this movie as just a Star Wars cash-in is kind of doing it a disservice, because it's really more than that. It's also a remake. Yep, the plot of Battle Beyond the Stars is actually a science fiction version of the movie The Magnificent Seven, which was itself a Western remake of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, which is pretty appropriate considering the plot of Star Wars A New Hope was partly based on another Kurosawa movie. Corman also decided to spend more money than usual here, giving the movie a budget of around $2 million. Now that's not much for a major Hollywood production, but for a Roger Corman movie, that's a downright Avatar-level budget. Speaking of which, the special effects and art direction were done by none other than James Cameron, who also worked on Galaxy of Terror, another Roger Corman movie that looked like it cost more money than it actually did. This kind of makes me wish James Cameron still worked for Roger Corman. Who knows, maybe he could find a way to make Sharktopus vs. Whale Wolf look good. Well, this is weird. This looks less like the beginning of a Star Wars cash-in and more like the ending of a 2001 A Space Odyssey cash-in. Battle Beyond the Stars, for those of you who thought we should have spent a little bit more money on Star Crash. No, what is this? The beginning of this movie is all wrong. That thing doesn't look like a Star Destroyer, it looks like the ship that was being chased by the Star Destroyer. I gotta give my compliments to James Cameron. For the time and budget this was made for, this is not a bad looking movie. Then again, considering what most of the Star Wars knockoffs I've done in this show look like, my standards might be a little skewed. So the basic plot of both The Magnificent Seven and Seven Samurai involves a group of bandits who terrorize the citizens of a peaceful village, who were then forced to hire 7 mercenaries to defend them. This movie is about a space pirate who comes in with his big-ass spaceship to terrorize a planet whose citizens live peacefully inside a Hieronymus Bosch painting.
I am Sayor of the Malnori. I have come with my forces to conquer you.
Sador is played by veteran cult movie actor John Saxon, who by the looks of it was in the middle of the Aladdin Sane phase of his career. And just what does Sador want with his lowly planet? Good question actually, I'm not sure. They never really give a reason other than just a vague desire to conquer. Oh well, gotta get the plot of this thing going somehow, I guess.
If you do not submit, your planet and all life on it will be burned to ash.
In fact, even if you do submit, I'm still going to kill you. I'm kind of a dick that way. The sitcom dad High Council does not look pleased with this situation.
To fight creatures of violence, you must use creatures of violence.
We should hire mercenaries.
We have no wealth to offer them.
No, I don't know, you could offer them that giant iPad you're all sitting at. They decide to send a young farm boy named Shad to go find mercenaries to fight for them, but instead of the Millennium Falcon, he takes a spaceship run by a computer called Nell.
Are you there, old girl?
Nobody calls me that but Zed.
Sorry.
This isn't going to be just another planetary joyride, you know.
Huh? Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was staring at your spaceship tits. What were you saying? Hey, just because this movie's rated PG doesn't mean Corman can't still put nipples on a spaceship. And it looks like we've got our first space battle of the movie.
Nell, what do I do?
Lock in on target.
Don't you mean stay on target? By the way, if any of these effect shots look familiar, it could be because Corman ended up reusing them in several different movies after this. Come on, you can't spend all that money and only use the effects in one movie. That's just a waste. Shad manages to get away, but that's only because Sador's goons needed to go tell Luke Skywalker they don't like him.
I can't believe it. You got no backbone, kid.
You know, I thought I did pretty well back there. I mean, you're still in one piece, aren't you?
Sure you did. They ever hold a contest for running away, you'll be champion of the universe.
You know, Siri really hasn't been the same ever since they gave her SAS programming. Alright, time to find ourselves a ragtag band of misfits to save our planet. Maybe there's a talking raccoon and tree monster on this space station. I don't know if you'll find any mercenaries in this place, but you might be able to get yourself a sex robot while you're here. Shad's here to see a guy called Dr. Hephaestus who lives with his daughter Nenelia, but I don't know if he'll be much help.
You are welcome, Shad of the Akira.
This is quite a surprise.
I'll say, it looks like your daughter can build sophisticated androids. Why don't you just get her to make you a new body? Right now you look like somebody cut open a transformer. Dr. Hephaestus wants Shad to stay and mate with his daughter, but again, considering she can just make robots to cater to her every need, I don't know if there's much Shad can offer her. Better turn on the charm.
Did you know that there's a form in the Black Galaxy whose children have no immune system till the age of 5 cycles? That means at the slightest trace of infection, they would just rot like fallen fruit when they reach the age of 5 cycles. All the relatives gather together in a special room and they watch while the child tears and bites at this plastoid with its teeth and nails. Most of them never do develop immunities. They die shortly afterwards.
Oh god, take me now, Shad. After Shad escapes, Nenelia decides to go with him. But wait a second, you can't leave yet. You still need to have a robot orgy with Randy Quaidbot here.
No weapons at all?
No. But I brought an analyzer.
I'd like to exchange data with that thing. Might be some new wrinkles I should catch up on.
Who's that?
It's just Nell.
Don't let the huge cans fool you. She's actually pretty smart. The two of them split up to look for more mercenaries, and I don't know who this next guy is, but I can't wait for the comment section to argue over whether his ship is offensive or history.
For I'm a poor cowboy, you know I've done wrong.
This is Space Cowboy.
But some people call him the gangster of love. Oh, come on, you knew I had to say that! Space Cowboy is played by George Papard. Turns out he spent some time in space before forming the A-Team. Also, I think his ship might be trying to cop a feel on Nell. So what can Space Cowboy offer?
Listen, I've done more fighting than I've seen old movies, which is saying a lot, seeing that's all I do on long hauls.
I can relate. Other than the fighting part, of course. Shad and Cowboy witness Sador's forces giving a demonstration of their most powerful weapon. And okay, Roger, we get it. You spent extra money on this movie.
Stellar Converter.
The Stellar Converter is a laser capable of totally destroying an entire planet. Hey, that's just a rehash of the Death Star. Only other Star Wars movies are allowed to keep doing that. Meanwhile, Nenelia doesn't seem to be doing too well. Not only does it look like she just entered the Acid Trip Nebula from Star Crash, but I think she's about to get eaten by another spaceship.
Yes, indeed. A very tasty looking morsel.
Great, she got captured by a horny slee stack.
I am Kenan of the Lando Zone, and this is Kopeg, my pooner.
Does that word mean Conan the Barbarian sex gimp? Because that's what it looks like. She asks Kamen to fight for them, although he doesn't seem too interested. That is until...
You're heartless. You're just like Sador.
Sador? Sador of the Malmodi?
No, Sador Smith. You're thinking of a different guy. Well, there's another recruit down. Meanwhile, either Shad's about to have a close encounter, or he just wandered into a 70s British sci-fi TV show.
We have monitored your travels. You are seeking mercenaries for an adventure. We would like to participate.
Look, that's great, but we're doing a Magnificent 7 remake here, and we've already got some of the slots filled. I don't think we're going to be able to take all you guys.
We are Nestor. We share identical consciousness.
I'd be more inclined to believe that if you didn't have eyes painted on your forehead like some hippie at Burning Man. But you do have one of the best looking spaceships in the movie, so I guess we can take you. Congratulations, Shad, you got another recruit. Now let's seal the deal by drinking some blue tampon commercial liquid. As you can probably tell, most of the first half of the movie is just Shad traveling to different places to recruit the various mercenaries, but at least it looks decent while he's doing that. Some shots almost look like they could be on the cover of an old issue of Heavy Metal. And be careful, Shad, I think you may have wandered onto the Galaxy of Terror set. And believe me, you do not want any help from there. Ooh, a dial-a-drug machine. I hear every theater showing this movie had to have one of these installed. And come on, Shad, you can watch other Roger Corman movies later. Right now you've got Mercenaries to find. The next mercenary Shad meets is Gelt, played by Robert Vaughn. Because hey, if you're gonna make a sci-fi version of The Magnificent Seven, might as well go that extra mile and cast one of the original actors from that movie. I just wish they could have gotten Charles Bronson to play the lizard guy. However, Gelt doesn't seem too keen on Shad's offer.
I could buy your planet 10 times over what I've gathered in this room. Plutonium. Cadmium.
Beanie Babies, it took until the far future, but they're finally worth something. Oh, of course Gelt ends up coming along. Robert Vaughn's practically required to be involved with anything that's a Magnificent Seven remake. Well, looks like we got most of our mercenaries together, but it feels like something's missing. We need a warrior woman character, somebody who can wear some sexy outfits like Caroline Munro in Star Crash, and hey, there she is.
I have heard of your battle with the Malmori. I wish to join you.
Our last recruit is Saint X-Men, played by 80s B-movie queen Sybil Danning. She's known as a saint because it's a miracle there isn't a nip slip in this movie. Now, younger viewers may not be familiar with Sybil Danning, but if you went through puberty during the glory days of VHS and cable TV, you know who she is. I guess I shouldn't be surprised Sybil Danning's in this when even the spaceships in this movie are stacked. But for some reason, Shad doesn't seem to want her around.
But I want to join.
Well, we don't want you. We don't need you, and we won't have you.
Oh, yes, you do need her. You need her to be front and center on the movie's poster to get guys to see this movie. Alright, now that we've got all our mercenaries gathered, it's time to introduce them to each other.
Where you from, Gelt? I'm from Earth. Know where that is?
I was born in space.
My mother was a black hole.
Someone following us.
Just ignore it. Maybe she'll go away.
Again, she's one of the main reasons people even remember this movie. Why are you being such a dick? The mercenaries also proved to be capable fighters by taking out one of Sador's ships, although for some reason, Robert Vaughn always seems like he's looking at a fly buzzing around his ceiling.
Beautiful.
I do love it when a team comes together. Now that they've made their way to the planet, it's time to figure out how to stop Sador. Right after the blind guy sneaks a peek at Sybil Danning's cleavage, that is.
Like the rest of us, the Malmori ship has to lower part of its force field in order to fire. When the stellar converter is about to be activated, the ship is extremely vulnerable.
So there's an exhaust port 2 meters wide that'll start a chain reaction that'll cause the whole thing to explode. Got it. They can't fight Sador just yet, though. First they need to terraform Mars so Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't suffocate. And also some character development.
I've got some more surprises for any visitors.
What drink is that?
Scotch and soda.
Fun fact, that's also how George Papard asked to be paid for this movie. And could there be some romance blossoming between Nenelia and Shad?
I've scanned information about mating. Does your species have kissing?
Oh, yes. We have that.
That's a little advanced, though. We should probably start with something simple, like blowjobs. And hey, as long as we're talking about wieners.
You like it? There's no dog in this.
Okay, we know it's not a real hot dog, then. I see Sybil Danning got her new costume from the Barbarella Bondage line of apparel. Sador's forces begin their attack on the planet. Meanwhile, Robert Vaughn is left standing there thinking, this isn't so bad. Beats the hell out of being in Teenage Caveman. So let's see how our mercenaries are in battle.
I'm protector of this planet. I order you to leave it in peace.
Blast her out of space.
Okay, again, why is everyone in this movie so eager to get rid of Sybil Danning? Alright fellas, try not to get blown up too early. Corman needs to use these effect shots in a dozen movies after this. You know, it's kind of a shame Disney didn't buy the rights to this movie as well as Star Wars. I wouldn't mind seeing a theme park ride of this. That way you could see Nell's sweet metallic bosom in 3D. And unlike in War of the Robots, it's nice that I can actually tell who's who in this battle. By the way, did I mention Corman spent more money than usual on this movie? Gelt is the first one to get shot down, probably because he was too busy looking at that damn fly again instead of fighting.
Gelt, are you all right?
That remains to be seen, Chad. Have a nice fight.
Spoken like a man who really wants his paycheck right now. And because George Papard was too drunk to get behind the wheel of a spaceship, he decides to stay and fight on the ground. And don't mess with the space cowboy, because he'll straight up shank a motherfucker. I don't know about cowboys' strategies. They seem to consist of just running right up to the bad guys and shooting them. But if that doesn't work, just have these two Care Bears stare the villains to death. Oh, and if you thought stormtroopers had bad aim, get a load of the people in this movie. Come on, they're right in front of you. How are you not hitting each other right now? Hello there, I was just wondering if there was a Lord of the Rings knockoff anyone needed me for right now. Oh, okay, never mind then. Looks like they sustained a lot of casualties, although again, I think they probably should have sustained a lot more. And I see Robert Vaughn was contractually obligated to be in one last scene.
What a place to end up. A minor planet in a third-rate galaxy.
Okay, seriously, Gelt, I know you're dying, but there's no need to be a dick about it. My only regret is Superman 3. Ugh. We also learn that one of the Nestors has been captured by Sador. They better hurry up and get to the torture. This doctor still needs to create poison ivy in Batman and Robin. He also transplants one of Nestor's arms over to Sador, although it does have a severe case of Ninja Turtle-itis. Oh, and the other Nestors can still control it.
Sador, no! I can't! Stop it!
Ah yes, the quit killing yourself assassination method. Oh, they can't kill John Saxon yet. He still hasn't been in Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, you still haven't defeated Sador, but you can still make time for a little romance.
Terrific. Now I've got 2 babies to sit for.
No, shut up.
Okay, but she's still gonna watch you two. So we now begin our climactic space battle of the movie, and I just noticed this movie seems to treat flying a spaceship the same as playing a PC game. Although refreshingly, the effects are actually less video game looking than some newer space movies. Oh, and if you expected the majority of our heroes to survive this movie, you obviously haven't seen what it's remaking.
Nestor is hit! Repeat, Nestor is hit!
This just doesn't have the same emotional impact without a character named Porkins dying. Okay, that makes up for not having a character called Porkins.
Fire on the planet.
It won't fire. It has been damaged.
Well, that's what you get for buying your spaceship controls at a Spencer's Gifts. But what about St. Xman?
I am Saint Xman of the Valkyrie. It's been a very enjoyable fight.
Oh no, not St. Xman! I really liked her outfits. Meanwhile, Space Cowboy finally decides to join the fight. Alright, only a few scenes left, George. You can get through this.
Sador, you son of a bitch! Here I come. This is Space Cowboy from the planet Earth.
But some people call me Maurice, motherfucker! Listen, Space Cowboy, I appreciate you sacrificing your life in order to save the planet, but please don't play any Bob Dylan before you die. Look, it was either that or another Steve Miller Band reference, okay?
Lazuli!
What is with the weird battle cries in this movie? You know what? I'm gonna put that and St. Xman's together.
Lazuli!
Alright, there goes Lizard Guy, so I guess it's up to Shad to stop Sador. Maybe you can try distracting him with Nell's breasts and hit him when he's not expecting it. By the way, have I mentioned it looks like the spaceship has tits? Because it totally looks like the ship has tits. That's why I keep bringing it up. Nell gets damaged and is about to be captured by Sador's ship, but thankfully Shad has a plan.
Nell, I'm gonna program you to self-destruct.
Whoa, whoa, whoa, I didn't agree to this. If you want to blow yourself up, fine, but leave me out of it, you little putz.
30 seconds and counting, Zed. 29, 28, 24, 15. Did I say 15?
Why don't you just start from 10, Nell?
Okay, 10, 2, 1. Just kidding. So Shad and Anelia escape and Nell stops Sador.
I want to live forever.
Ah, don't worry, John, you will. In the hearts of cult movie fans everywhere. It's good that they stopped Sador, but it's too bad so many of our heroes had to die doing it. This kind of feels like if Han Solo and Chewbacca died trying to blow up the Death Star. Along with Star Crash, Battle Beyond the Stars is one of the more famous Star Wars cash-ins out there, but it also has the distinction of being one of the more well-made. The effects are actually pretty good considering the budget, and most of the characters are distinct and memorable, even if they are just playing various sci-fi movie cliches. Given that the movie's both a cash-in and a remake, it can sometimes get a little formulaic, but it's never boring, and most of the cast seem to be having fun with their roles. It's definitely cheesy and derivative, but it's pretty fun if you're in the right state of mind. Just don't expect anything on the level of Empire Strikes Back. And as cheesy as this movie gets, at least it doesn't have a character called General Gonad, which automatically puts it above the last Star Wars knockoff I did. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
What do you think we should do?
Run away?
Good idea.
You know, I just realized, have I really gone this entire year without doing a single Turkish knockoff movie? I mean, usually I do a couple of these things a year. It really helps keep you on your toes when you have to just kind of guess what the hell is happening on screen. Up until now, I've mainly concentrated on Turkish superhero movies, but it's important to remember that the world of Turkish knockoff cinema goes way beyond just Spider-Man busting a nut while puppets watch. There's things like Turkish Star Trek, Turkish Wizard of Oz, Turkish Rambo, the list goes on and on. Well, you know what? There's a new Star Wars movie coming out, which means it's about time I got to perhaps the most infamous Turkish knockoff of them all. I would do a fake Star Wars text crawl for the intro, but, I got in trouble the last time I did that, so let's just go to the title card. Dünyayı Kurtaran Adam is a 1982 Turkish science fiction movie whose title roughly translates to The Man Who Saved the World. But most people don't call it that. Instead, the movie's more widely known by the title of Turkish Star Wars because, well, you can see why. While a lot of Turkish knockoffs take things like the plotline, costumes, or music from other movies, this one goes a step further by actually incorporating footage from the first Star Wars film into the movie itself, which helped it to become the first widely known Turkish mockbuster outside that country. In fact, this movie's almost single-handedly responsible for starting the whole trend of naming a movie by taking the word Turkish, followed by whatever it's knocking off. I mean, it was the first Turkish knockoff I was ever aware of. I can remember seeing clips of it in the pre-YouTube days and wondering how in the hell something like this could possibly even exist. I was so naive back then. In addition to the movie's reputation on the internet, film historian and Turkish cinema connoisseur Ed Glazer also managed to find a 35mm print of the movie with the intention of fully restoring it and eventually releasing it on DVD and Blu-ray. Well, that Blu-ray may not be out yet, but hey, compared to most of the Turkish movies I do on this show, my copy of the movie looks downright HD. At least this movie knows where its priorities are by whizzing right past the title and getting to the fact that it stars Turkish action hero Cüneyt Arkın in the lead role. Seriously, he is the only guy who could make this pose and still keep his dignity. And how about that opening music? I gotta say, not Turkish John Williams' best work. It'll be interesting to see if Disney ends up buying the company behind this movie. I'm curious how they'd market something called Cunt Films. So right away, the movie shows us that George Lucas is the one who deserves credit for faking the moon landing, and not Stanley Kubrick. Who knew NASA was really part of the Rebel Alliance this whole time? As you can see, the first several minutes of the movie uses lots of footage from Star Wars, although because they're all from different parts of the movie, I'm not sure how they're supposed to fit together. What exactly is going on here?
Bazı gezegenlerde hayat devam etmekte, yaşam sürmekteydi. Ama nükleer savaş çok hızlanmıştı.
You know, between the narration and the way the clips are randomly edited together, so far this seems more like a Turkish internet review of Star Wars than an actual movie. And if you can't afford a green screen, just project the movie on a wall behind you. Nobody will be able to tell the difference. Meanwhile, in Turkish Star Crash, I don't know who this guy is, but he really seems to enjoy watching Star Wars. Not sure why he's doing it through a keyhole, though. So I'm assuming these two are our heroes for the movie. Who are they exactly?
İyi bir atış. Aferin.
Oh, god damn it. Jeez, we're not even 10 minutes in and it looks like they're already trying to blow up the Death Star. Ever heard of pacing yourself? I'd say they were close to defeating the villain if I thought this guy had anything to do with the rest of the movie. So, who is this supposed to be?
Gene elimden kurtuldun dünya. Bir daha seni hiçbir kuvvet kurtaramayacak.
Oh, you think I'm kidding about this guy being Ming?
O zaman uzayda en güçlü ben olacağım.
I didn't add that. This movie takes stuff from Star Wars and Flash Gordon. In fact, you know what? For the rest of the video, I'm just gonna call this guy Ming. After all, he looks more like Ming than the guy from Turkish Flash Gordon did. Anyway, the two guys playing the Star Wars VR game earlier end up crashing on a planet, and it looks like they're either about to be captured by Jawas or eaten by Wile E. Coyote. And I'm starting to think that instead of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, these two are stand-ins for another Star Wars character.
Don't you call me a mindless philosopher, you overweight glob of grease?
Before long, they end up getting attacked by a Turkish-Italian exploitation movie, but they didn't count on messing with Cüneyt Arkın. Not only does he have the fighting skills to beat these guys, but the editor is on his side too. I can't tell if these guys are supposed to be stormtroopers or L from Star Crash. Well, it would make sense if they were L. After all, he is on one of the posters for the movie.
Ama acayip şeyler. Herhalde dünyadaki sevgililerin değil.
Well, looks like our heroes just got captured by Turkish the Humongous. I really wish this movie would pick a sci-fi franchise to knock off and stick with it. In any case, here's some child abuse. Oh, damn it, robot! You're supposed to warn Turkish Will Robinson of danger, not put him in it. At least our heroes make some effort to actually interact with the story. I'm still convinced the villains are just sitting at home watching the movie. Looks like these two are in trouble, but wait a second, who's this? Ah, looks like those two are gonna get some action. They get patched up by Turkish Valeria from Conan the Barbarian here, and do I sense some romance blossoming? Well, you know what they say, if a woman doesn't seem interested at first, just keep giving her your best rape face. In addition to medical attention, they also get some new clothes from Turkish Christopher Plummer.
Ama onların medeniyeti bizimkinden çok daha üstünmüş. Ve onlar bu medeniyeti, tekniği birbirlerini yok etmek için değil.
Uh-oh, looks like they just wandered into a Turkish version of The Mummy. Hopefully they're not trying to create a Turkish dark universe, because that is not going to end well. Well, looks like we can't save all these kids from being murdered, so might as well get the hell out of here. And this brings us to the most famous part of the movie, where Cüneyt Arkın has a training montage where he karate chops rocks. Hey, he didn't get that dad bod by doing nothing, you know. And if you thought the music choices were weird before... I guess using music from Indiana Jones fits. Now if you want some music that doesn't fit... Congratulations, Cüneyt, you just broke every bone in your body, which I guess means you're ready to take on the bad guys. However, I think not Princess Leia is jealous of Cüneyt's budding romance with this little boy. Oh, I'm just kidding. His heart only belongs to her. I'm assuming.
Geri dönüşe.
Now that their training is out of the way, these two are off to Turkish Comic-Con. If they're lucky, maybe they can get a photo with Turkish Jessica Negri. While having a drink at Not Isley, a fight breaks out and our heroes end up getting sucked into a brawl involving the cast of Yo Gabba Gabba, as well as some aliens that I'm pretty sure are from a planet made exclusively of ethnic stereotypes. You know, say what you want about this scene, but so far this is all less stupid than Greedo firing first. Unfortunately, shortly after Ming shows up, the movie's color budget runs out and they're forced to shoot the rest of this scene through a Virtual Boy. I don't know what exactly is happening here, but Cüneyt looks like he just got told the woman he kissed earlier is really his sister.
Bu bu nazik daveti kabul etmezse kaybolur.
Our heroes may have been captured, but at least Ming gave him some new clothes. And good news for this other guy. While Junet gets taken to see Ming, he gets to see Turkish Princess Aura. Everybody knows she was always way hotter than Dale Arden anyway. So after Ming shows off his cardboard cutout supercomputer, he also shows Junet his most prized possession, a gold-plated brain?
Bir de sizin beyinlerinizi aldım mı zaman gösterecek.
Ming's also captured not Leia, but he's crazy if he thinks Junet's just gonna stand there and do nothing. He didn't spend an entire afternoon punching rocks to not beat people up, you know. Although, I'm not sure about the subtitles on this copy of the movie. Okay, admittedly my Turkish isn't great, but I don't think that was right. And forget Wookiees ripping your arm out of its socket when they lose. Junet Arkin will do that to you even when he's winning. Looks like he's got this situation handled. How's the other guy doing? Damn, cock blocked by Muppets. It's my prom night all over again. He goes to help Junet, although honestly, I don't think he needs it.
Çok gürültü yaptın. Kadının kocaları geldi. Hayret, kadınları bırakıp da nasıl geldin?
The fight eventually ends after the editor has a seizure, which incapacitates our heroes and also leads to their funeral? The hell? It's okay though, they escape after realizing the villains just put a thin layer of dirt on them.
Kendilerine güvenlerini kaybedince beyinleri tam istediğim hale gelecek.
So far nothing the villains have done has been able to kill our heroes, probably because they haven't tried just shooting them. So maybe having Junet fight whatever the hell this thing is'll work. I don't know. I think the scene would be a lot better if it was Hayden Christensen fighting some CGI Flintstones monsters. Junet, of course, wins, which apparently means he gets to leave while the other guy is still Ming's prisoner. Well, sucks to be him. Listen, just keep running, Junet. I'm sure the plot's gotta be around here somewhere. Oh shit, he just got ambushed by a fight scene. I don't know if these guys have anything to do with Ming, and frankly, at this point, I don't really care. Damn, too bad there isn't more Indiana Jones music playing, or Junet could just shoot this guy right now. In addition to fight scenes, always be sure to show off your real-life locations as much as possible in order to get your movie to feature length. And since they didn't have the budget for a lightsaber in this movie, I guess this lightning bolt from an elementary school play will just have to do instead. So, is this still supposed to be a Star Wars knockoff? Is that still what we're doing here? Not only am I not sure what movie they're trying to knock off, but apparently this guy is evil now? I guess that makes sense. After all, he does kind of look like a Turkish version of Ricardo Montalban. Could this movie get any weirder? Okay, fine, whatever.
Sihirbazın bir hilesi arkadaşının beynini alacaktır şimdi.
Sihirbaz asıl benim peşimde. Onu fazla bekletmek istemem.
Oh, and I guess this guy isn't actually evil. He's just being turned into Turkish Frankenstein or something. Anyways, regarding the sword Junet just got, it looks like it gives him the ability to win fights easily, so basically it does nothing. Anyways, he better hurry up and rescue his friend. Oh, damn it, Junet! The producer's kid spent all night making that prop! You'd think this guy would be grateful he just got rescued, but he seems to be suffering from a serious case of sword envy.
Akıllı olsaydın şampanya ve kadından hoşlanırdın. Korkarım gücün de yakışıklılığın gibi başına iş açacak. Ben neyi seçeceğim biliyorum. Ver kılıcı!
Alright, he's got the sword. Now to tweak Junet's nipples a little bit and then leave. Maybe Christopher Plummer will buy this thing from him.
Bu iki gücü birleştirmenin sırrını bana öğret. Başaracaksın evlat. Bunların sırrı...
Oh, and turns out Christopher Plummer is really Ming, or Ming was impersonating him? I don't know. The point is, the mystical arts and crafts sword is now his. Hopefully Junet gets here quick. Hey, when you're the hero of the movie, I figure your theme song's allowed to interrupt the soundtrack. Even if it technically isn't your theme song. Great, not only is the Virtual Boy cinematography back, but I think Christopher Plummer's a ghost now. And just in case you thought this movie couldn't get any more inexplicable... I can't tell if that was supposed to happen or if there was an accident on set and they just decided to keep it in the movie. No need to worry though, he's only sorta dead.
Galiba ben dönemeyeceğim. Bana ölüyorum numarası yapma.
Look, Junette, I know you're sad your friend died, but I don't see how melting the sword down and burning your hands off is gonna help things. Okay, actually he uses the sword to make a pair of gloves, but unfortunately they aren't as awesome as the ones he had in Lion Man. So now we get to our final battle, but because they already showed the attack on the Death Star at the beginning, we'll have to settle for more of Junette Arkin jumping on trampolines and beating people up. Damn, Junette's so fired up even Ming's awkward editing powers aren't enough to stop him. Also, I may have jumped the gun by saying they couldn't use more Star Wars footage. So did they just blow up the movie? Oh, never mind. Looks like everyone's still here. Guess they must have blown up some other planet. Ever wish Star Wars had a bunch of random scenes of Junette Arkin karate chopping Teletubbies in half inserted into it? Well, then you wish for some really weird shit. Good God, the editing is getting so crazy it feels like I'm watching a Turkish YouTube poop video. It's like this movie was edited with a blender. Oh well, at least I get to do this gag. Decapitation! Sweet Jesus, this movie should have been called The Man Who Saves the World by Punching People to Death. He's like a one-man Death Star. Is he gonna have to beat up every single person on this planet? Cause that's what it looks like. For the love of God, Junette, hurry up and kill Ming so we can get this over with. After he uses his best Three Stooges moves on Ming, Junette finally kills him by karate chopping him in half. Or maybe he just cut the camera in half. That's kinda what it looks like. Just like how I've now been chopped in half. Don't you totally believe that I've been chopped in half? Junette then caused an earthquake which completely devastated the planet and killed several innocent people. Whatever, not his problem. He doesn't even stay to be with his love interest. He just catches the next stock footage ship out of town and rides off into the sun. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant sun. So there you have it, quite possibly the most infamous foreign knockoff ever made. So does it deserve its reputation? Well, depending on how you look at it, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it has pretty much everything you'd expect from this kind of movie. Shameless use of stock footage, awkward editing, music that abruptly cuts out during scene changes, a plot that probably wouldn't make sense even if I could understand the language. Basically, if you want a perfect encapsulation of what Turkish remake-exploitation cinema is like, this is pretty much it. Recommending a movie like this is always tricky, but if you're someone with a taste for truly what-the-fuck cinema, you should probably see this at least once. In my opinion, though, subtitles are optional. Well, that's all for now, but the Turkish saga continues, because believe it or not, there's a sequel. Turkish Star Wars 2 is pretty much the worst fucking thing that's ever been created by a country. It's like they took all the interest generated on the internet by the first one and just flushed it down the toilet. Instead of a guy karate chopping Muppets to death while clips from the first Star Wars movie play, we get a bunch of awkward CGI and characters who look like they have no idea what they're supposed to be. Oh my god! What's wrong with your face? If you're somebody who thinks this movie is better than the first one because it's more professionally made and doesn't use clips from other movies, then sit back while I explain all the reasons you're a fucking idiot. Number 1, the characters. Alright, I'm not gonna do the rest of the video like that, but it's appropriate that I started that way because while the first Turkish Star Wars may have taken clips and inspiration from the original Star Wars movie, with this sequel made several years later, we've entered prequel territory. So as I said in my previous video, the real title of the movie referred to as Turkish Star Wars actually translates to The Man Who Saved the World. And perhaps influenced by the movie's increasing notoriety outside of Turkey, in 2006 there was a sequel made called The Son of the Man Who Saved the World, which is also sometimes known by the title Turks in Space. But I'm not calling it either of those things. It's a sequel to Turkish Star Wars, so I'm calling it Turkish Star Wars 2. Hey, it was either that or the Ottoman Empire Strikes Back. So, just how does this movie pick up where the first one left off? Good question. I didn't do any research into what the storyline is or how it's connected to the first one. I haven't understood the plot to a Turkish movie yet on this show, and I do not intend to start now. I will give the movie credit. Unlike the first one, this doesn't appear to have been made by a cunt. And hey, what do you know? Looks like I managed to get a copy of a Turkish movie that doesn't look like it was put in a microwave. Anyway, we begin with a spectacular view of Google Earth, and this Star Wars-inspired sci-fi movie is starting out a lot differently than I thought it would. First, it looks like I'm watching a History Channel documentary, and then all of a sudden it's about soccer? The fuck? Oh, good, we're in space. Oh, thank God. For a second there, I was worried I was going to be confused by this movie where I can't understand what anyone's saying. Meanwhile, in Turkish Red Dwarf, I would make fun of these effects, but, they're roughly on par with the ones from Event Horizon. Besides, the important thing is the movie lets us know Cüneyt Arkın is the top-billed actor, which surely means he has a big role with lots of lines in this movie. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. Instead, this is our main character, who I assume is the son of the man who saved the world? It must really be tough growing up when your dad can karate chop people in half and make rocks explode by kicking them. Well, at least the crew on this ship seems to be diverse. Look, one of them's a bird. Plus, I think the ship's computer might actually be Turkish Zombie. You know, all things considered, this Turkish version of the Orville seems like it'll be okay. Anyway, the captain's busy getting his James T. Kirk on with the ship's secretary, but he's interrupted before he can fire his proton torpedo into her exhaust port.
Mürettebatı topla. Çok önemli bir açıklama yapacağım.
Well, the captain may not have gotten laid, but the other crew members seem to be indulging their fetish for having the ship pee on them. We're now introduced to the movie's villain, but instead of not Ming the Merciless like the first Turkish Star Wars, this guy looks like he stepped out of an early 90s Saturday morning kids show. Oh, and Hitler's in the movie, I guess. Actually, I may have jumped the gun about this being our main villain, since not only does this guy have better facial hair, but he also has foxier henchmen too. I know we're only a few minutes in, but so far this seems more like Star Trek than Star Wars. Hey, now we're talking.
I think George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Well, this is really shameless. They are clearly ripping off the condom scene from Skin Deep.
Babana bile güvenmeyeceksin.
Speaking of Turkish Star Wars, we finally get an appearance by Cüneyt Arkın, who looks like he's busy rehearsing for Turkish Enter the Dragon. Did you like that clip I played of Cüneyt Arkın? I hope so, because that was most of his screen time. One thing you'll quickly notice about this movie is while the first one felt like a fan film on meth, this one seems more like a direct-to-video sci-fi movie and has a much more comedic tone.
Osman! Osman!
I didn't add that. It's nice to know Turkey has its own version of those Seltzer-Friedberg parody movies. I can't wait until a Turkish Kardashian shows up. As if that wasn't bad enough, in the future regulations have gotten so bad you can't even smoke inside your own spacesuit anymore. So what's this guy's mission?
Uzayın Fatih! Kazan mübarek olsun!
I don't know what's worse, these effects or the fact that they're still easily the best of any Turkish movie I've ever done on this show. Oh, and speaking of which, apparently some people were disappointed that the movie didn't just steal effects from Star Wars like the first one did. But honestly, if you told me some of these shots were lifted from The Phantom Menace, I'd buy it. So what is this, like the Turkish Jedi Council?
Sayın Orion Birliği üyeleri.
Can we skip this scene, please? They better hurry up and end this meeting. This guy still needs to banish Jar Jar Binks. And here's one advantage this movie has over the Star Wars prequels. Instead of a bunch of long, drawn-out Senate scenes, we have the villain murdering Turkish Beldar. There's only room for one penis on this spaceship. And in case you're getting bored, here's some fan service. I don't know though, it's just not the same without Turkish Batman and Robin going to a strip club for several minutes, you know? I know I mentioned Red Dwarf earlier, but instead of Crichton making dry jokes, we have Brentalflossbot here looking like he's debating where to stick this bottle. I'm still not sure what these characters are supposed to be doing.
Gökmen! Sesime gel!
Fuck you, crazy man. Fuck you.
Okay, I know it seems like I added that, but I didn't. What the hell is going on?
You are the disgrace of space. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Hey, back off, lady. I'm the one riffing this movie.
You animal.
Well, I have been compared to a horse. Mainly by people calling me a horse's ass. Nice to know in the future NASA is run by flight attendants, and I think the captain might be trying to enter the Billion Mile High Club. Well, at least he's got more game than the movie's villain, who seems completely oblivious to the fact he's piloting a ship full of latex fetish models. So, yeah, lots of action happening here. Say what you want about the first one, but at least things happened in it. They were weird, nonsensical things, but at least they were things. Are the characters in this movie going to actually do something? Oh, damn it. I was hoping for a collision. At least our heroes have finally met the movie's villain, who now seems like he's trying to look as douchey as possible. But instead of karate chopping him in half, we just get a kids' movie trailer moment. Well, that does it. Threatening my crew is one thing, but nobody kidnaps my side piece and gets away with it. I'm grateful we're finally getting some action in this movie, although I'm wondering when one of these characters is going to try spinning. That's a good trick. Unfortunately, our heroes end up getting shot down and are forced to crash land into a PlayStation 1 cutscene. Oh well, at least they seem to have landed close by where Junaid Arkin was doing Tai Chi earlier. Does that mean he's back in the movie?
Önce Gökmen, şimdi de Gonca. Ben burada kalıp Gölbaşı'nın bana verdiği görevi tamamlamakta kararlıyım.
Oh, god damn it! In addition to kidnapping Lieutenant Uhura here, the villain also shaved, which I think in this movie counts as a major plot development. Meanwhile, in the Turkish Magic Kingdom, you know, say what you want about the rest of this movie, but the catering on it was top-notch. Today on Turkish Hot Ones, can this guy handle wings coated in Ottoman ass blaster sauce? So as far as I can tell, this guy wants the villain to marry his daughter, but I can't believe it's not Queen Amidala doesn't seem too happy with this arrangement. Oh well, maybe he can try taking a swing at Turkish Jennifer Coolidge here. Oh look, our heroes still haven't left the ship. What a surprise. When they finally do go outside, it almost looks like they're about to run into the cast of Spaced Out. At least I hope to God. And listen, fellas, you can claim this planet all you want. I don't think anybody else wants it. You know, as similar as this movie is to the Star Wars prequels, it just doesn't seem like a Turkish knockoff without them taking music from other movies. Huh. Not quite what I was expecting, but I'll take it. Also, judging by the way the bad guy's looking at this dancer, I have a feeling this movie's about to turn into Turkish The Crying Game. At least he seems happier than his bride-to-be.
Babam beni zorla Zaldabar'la evlendirecek. Artık bir dakika bile bu sarayda duramam Bianca. Hemen buradan gitmeliyiz.
While all this is going on, our main characters are... Oh, Jesus, you mean they're still just standing around? For Christ's sake, do something! There, walking. That's something, I guess. Throughout this entire movie, I keep hoping the cast of Lex is going to show up so they can fuck and then murder the other characters. Anyway, Princess whoever this is realizes she doesn't want to get married. Probably for the best. I don't think she's this guy's type. So she decides to ATV it the hell on out of there and goes to... Turkish Blade Runner town, I guess? Well, all I can say is they better not definitively answer whether Junaid Arkin's a replicant, or I am gonna be pissed. And hey, turns out she's not the only one here.
Bahsettiğiniz şahsı tanımıyorum. Ben Kartal Kaptan.
After the captain forces the princess at gunpoint to have them participate in the rest of the movie, she decides to let them tag along, and I think they might actually pass Anakin and Queen Amidala rolling around in a field. Joke's on them though, the villain's already left. And once again, I think the subtitles on my copy might be a little off. Hey, wait a second, that wasn't right. Hey, jackass, I think the reason you're not getting a signal is because it's the future and you're still using a flip phone. Well, I see these guys are keeping busy. If they're just gonna keep sitting there, I guess the plot'll just have to come to them. Oh no, don't tell me they killed... whoever those characters were. Not to worry though, there's plenty of annoying characters to replace them.
Dünyalı adam gelecek ve hepimizi kurtaracak. Gel dünyalı adam gel. Dememiş miydim?
This is my least favorite Turkish Martin Short character. And besides, turns out the crew members aren't really dead, they've just been captured. I know, I'm disappointed too. Anyway, the captain gets taken to a village where he meets Turkish Jake Lloyd, but more importantly, this is also where Cüneyt Arkın is. Unfortunately, he seems to have been frozen in CGI benite. Well, at least now the movie can definitively answer whether or not he's related to our main character. Huh. Okay, well, I guess that still technically makes that guy Cüneyt's son. And in addition to being frozen, Cüneyt Arkın is also apparently Space Ghost? Whatever. As long as they show him beating people up, I'm glad he's back in this movie, even if it is as a popsicle. Okay, now this movie's kinda starting to look like a sequel to Turkish Star Wars. All they need now is for the music to awkwardly drop out between edits and we're halfway there. And holy crap, you mean we're actually getting an action sequence in this movie? I mean, sure, it looks more like something you'd see in an Asylum movie knockoff of Star Wars and not a Turkish one, but still, it's an action sequence.
Bir kadını asla vurmam. Çekilin yolumdan.
The captain goes to confront the villain, and hey, wait a minute. I'm beginning to think these two might be played by the same actor.
Seninki belli değilse git anana sor.
Still a more believable plot development than midi-chlorians. And if you want proof why this guy's a poor stand-in for Cüneyt Arkın, instead of karate chopping the bad guy in half, he just gets bitch slapped off a cliff.
Kartal! Kartal!
Oh, of course he's fine. It looked like he only fell about 10 feet. In any case, he better hurry up if he wants to stop the princess from marrying Darth Adam Lambert. First, though, he's got to get a makeover to turn him into Turkish James Bond. Which, by the way, that's also a thing. And I don't know why the villain feels like he needs to get a hooker before the wedding when he's already got a ship full of sex bots. Oh, wait a second. That's the woman he kidnapped earlier. Sweet Stockholm Syndrome, I think these two might be falling in love. Now I see the wedding guests are starting to show up. Fun fact, in Turkey they save time by having the wedding ceremony and bachelor party simultaneously. Oh, and I guess this guy's back in the movie. How is it we haven't seen him in over an hour and yet he still has more screen time than Cüneyt Arkın? Well, looks like everybody's ready for the wedding, and even though this movie doesn't have any footage taken from other films, I think I know something that would fit pretty well here.
Oh, Jesus, God, no.
Cassandra! Oh, hi. Sorry, everybody. Wrong wedding.
I object to this wedding. I look just like the groom, and I don't have an emo haircut. Oh, and if anyone's been disappointed there hasn't been any nudity so far, there you go. Eat your heart out, Total Recall lady. I'm not really sure what's happening here, but either these two are revealed to actually be brothers, or they both got tattoos letting people know they like being fisted in the ass. So, the movie's almost over. Are we gonna get a climactic fight scene or what? This is one part where I wish they would have taken music from Star Wars. This would be a lot better if Duel of the Fates was playing. The bad guy eventually loses after making the fatal mistake of bringing a lightsaber to a blaster fight. Plus, he was really the T-1000 or something. Okay, it looks like pretty much everything worked out, but it doesn't matter because Cüneyt Arkın is still trapped in a block of ice. Are they really gonna end this movie with him just sitting there frozen?
Doğru konuş bakayım.
Estağfurullah babacığım. Siz varken ne haddime?
Aklını başına topla. Dünyayı kurtaracaksın.
Alright, in this movie Cüneyt Arkın really does save the world when he redirects a friggin' meteor. In my opinion though, it would have been better if he karate chopped it in half. Oh, and I think he destroys Nowhere from Turkish Guardians of the Galaxy. And so the day was saved, making the universe safe for Turkish knockoffs for eons to come.
Dünyasız insan, insansız dünya olmaz.
Oh, sure, he says that's the end, but once this gets bought out by Turkish Disney, they'll make like one of these a year. Comparing this to the first Turkish Star Wars is tricky, especially since the only thing that lets you know it's a sequel is Cüneyt Arkın, and he's barely even in it. On the one hand, it is more slickly made than the first one. I mean, it actually seems like a movie and not a fan film that was run through a wood chipper, but this also means it's less crazy and memorable than the first one. Instead, it's more like watching a Sci-Fi Channel original movie where I can't understand what anyone's saying. There's a few what the fuck moments, but it can't hold a candle to the insanity of the first one, and it's easy to see why it doesn't have the reputation on the internet the first does. Well, that's the last Turkish movie I'll be doing for 2017, but Cüneyt Arkın will return when I get to the Turkish Ewok adventure. I'm just joking, there's no Turkish Ewok movies. I think. Well, that's all for now. Until next time. Oh my god, what's wrong with your face? Today's movie is a special request from Patreon supporter Miko Henrik Kook, who asked me to review Message from Space. Now, at first this may seem like just another Star Wars cash-in, but this one is special. Why? Because the director also made this. This Star Wars knockoff may not have Caroline Munro or Cüneyt Arkın, but there is a chance it'll have a groovy soundtrack. I've done a decent amount of Star Wars knockoffs on this show, but it's important to remember that I've only just scratched the surface so far. Star Wars was such a giant hit that we got cash-ins from all over the world, whether they were from America, Italy, Turkey, Canada, so why should Japan be any different? After all, George Lucas took ideas from samurai films for Star Wars, so fair's fair, right? Produced by Toei Studios, Message from Space was actually pretty ambitious for its time, casting some American actors in lead roles with an eye on the international market. And with a budget of somewhere between $5 and $6 million, it was the most expensive Japanese movie ever made at that point. Keep in mind, though, this is Toei we're talking about here, who just a year earlier put out Legend of the Dinosaurs, which was also supposedly one of the most expensive Japanese movies ever made, and that looked like... well, if you saw my video on it, you know what it looked like. Again, though, even if it doesn't look good, it still might have a funky soundtrack. The movie may take place in a galaxy far, far away, but luckily it's getting closer. Instead of opening with a text crawl, though, we get some narration to tell us what's going on.
The planet Jalusia is on the verge of death. It has been conquered by the Gavanas, the mighty invaders from space. Kaido, ruler of Jalusia, with the warriors of his 60 tribes, fought valiantly, but they had been no match for the ruthless, steel-skinned hordes of the Gavanas.
Alright, well I didn't hear anything about trade disputes or Senate debates, so far we're off to a decent start. Basically the story is a bunch of space hippies had their production of Jesus Christ Superstar interrupted by some evil aliens, so they decide to find some heroes that can help save their planet by throwing some magic seeds up in the air and sending them out into the galaxy. Seriously.
You will follow the Liabe seeds wherever they go, and when you return with the 8 brave heroes, the people of Jalusia will be saved.
Shouldn't we get an army to help us out instead of just 8 people? I mean, there's a Home Depot down the street. I can get more seeds. This is Emeralita, who will be our Princess Leia for the movie. But are they really going to send her off alone?
Master, may I accompany your granddaughter because she may need help?
And she's also pretty hot. Wouldn't mind spreading my own seeds on this mission. Emeralita is accompanied on her mission by Rocco, who will be our... guy who accompanies Princess Leia? I don't know, I can't think of a Star Wars equivalent for him. Speaking of Star Wars characters, let's see what this movie's Darth Vader is like.
There's something wonderful about a storm.
Oh, it's Princess Dragon Mom's cousin, Duke Spiderface. Instead of the Emperor, though, this villain takes orders from his mother. Again, seriously.
Roxea, if they've gone to get help, anything can happen.
You worry too much, Mother.
Son, just a second ago I saw up in the sky 8 glowing Liabe seeds.
Great, next she's gonna talk about how she thinks the Wookiee nurse at the rest home is stealing from her. Watch out, the Jalusians are making a really impractical escape attempt. I would say this is taking the term spaceship a little too literally, but that's kind of par for the course for Japan. Now, Toei apparently spent a lot of money on this, so let's see those effects. Yeah, I've seen worse. And in case you forgot what movie this is supposed to be cashing in on... That was clearly a ripoff of the opening shot of Star Crash. Meanwhile, in... somewhere else in space, I see getting drunk on flights managed to survive in the future.
Captain?
Yes, miss?
What is that?
Oh, those are space fireflies.
I never knew fireflies could exist in space.
Well, space fireflies usually only last about a season and then a spin-off movie that doesn't do very well. Maya here wants to catch the fireflies, but just keep feeding her drinks until she passes out. We got our other heroes to get to.
Been a long time since we've been out cruising like this. Right.
These two are Shiro and Eren, who I guess are supposed to be intergalactic street racers. They even attract the attention of the space fuzz.
Stop! You are ordered to stop! Please obey the code! Will you stop?
This movie may not have stormtroopers, but it does have state troopers, judging by this guy's sunglasses. I will say, though, these spaceship designs would be pretty good if this was a Battlestar Galactica cash-in. And once again, let's see those effects Toei spent all that money on. I could never make it past this level in Rebel Assault. Congratulations, fellas, you just went from joyriding to attempted murder of a police officer, so instead of a fine, you're now fugitives. Which kinda makes me wonder if this is actually a prequel to Fugitive Alien. Oh, and you're stranded on an alien planet with no way off. Oh well, at least you'll have some walnuts to snack on before you have to start eating each other.
I think this is really ridiculous.
Okay, easy, fellas, we're not even 15 minutes in. There is way more ridiculous shit coming up. Probably the most recognizable actor in the movie is combat star Vic Morrow, seen here behind the scenes on his lunch break. Vic plays General Garuda, who just had a funeral for a friend.
What was that object just launched? What's going on there?
It was a rocket for a funeral. Soldier's servant Babel 1. My robot. Military order said he was outdated and had to be scrapped.
Damn it, Garuda! You know all outdated robots are supposed to be melted down and recycled into real dolls. And if this robot isn't outdated, just what the hell did the other one look like? I know something that'll cheer Vic up. Some space disco. Yeah, I knew this movie was gonna bring the funk eventually. Oh, and if anyone thought I was kidding about sex bots earlier, just what do you think this thing's purpose is?
Give me another drink.
Master, don't get smashed. Must find place to crash tonight. No more booze. No more booze.
Hey, who the hell do you think you are, the director? Vic probably should stop boozing, though, since I think Mr. Peanut just tried to roofie his drink. Well, whatever. He still feels like getting lucky tonight. This next part's a little convoluted, but a friend of Shiro and Eren's named Jack borrowed money from a gangster to help him repair their ships, and now he wants the money back. So I guess this guy's kinda like Jabba the Hutt if he were a huge Grateful Dead fan.
Get the money! Get the money! We spent it, every bit of it. You didn't. No, you didn't.
We had to buy some parts for our machines. We had to buy some engines and parts and stuff.
We had to go down to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters. Anyway, Jack gets a seed too, so hopefully the Jalusians don't mind having a sniveling coward who dresses like a psychedelic used car salesman for a hero. And don't worry about the money. Rich Girl will help you out.
We just had to borrow 30 pieces of gold. If we don't pay those gangsters back, they're gonna shove us down in quicksand.
Oh hey, better than being frozen in carbonite. And you already owe money to the mob, you don't need a speeding ticket on top of it.
Shake it, will you? If he catches us, we get 3 years in the cooler.
Oh, don't worry. They don't call me kamikaze for nothing.
Okay, kamikaze is not a good nickname for a pilot. Not that it matters though, if you crash, all you need is a breathing mask to survive in space. Jeez, by the looks of it, most of the budget was spent on a local TV station's mixing board. I keep expecting to see a star wipe. Just like in Gamera Super Monster, a lot of the effect scenes were shot on video rather than film, and they look like... well, you can see for yourself. Toei Studios spending lots of money on things that really don't look that great. Oh good, a better effect just arrived. Let's go check it out. Bad news, I think Emeralita and Rocco starved to death before they got here. Well, that's what they get for using a sailing ship. There's no wind in space.
I wonder what happened.
They were probably attacked by space pirates.
Ah, come on, Captain Harlock's way too classy for this movie. The villains soon arrive, and as much as I've joked about the effects so far, I do gotta admit that some of the ship designs here are actually kinda cool. And hey, what do you know, Emeralita and Rocco are still alive. The space cop, however, is fucking dead.
Maybe we should tell the police.
Yeah, sure. Do that and the fuzz will know we were horsing around in the prohibited area. And we're good for 3 years in the space clink.
And you know what they make you do in there? Toss the space salad.
Hey, what's all this noise?
We're filming one of your scenes, Vic. Now get up, will ya? Pretty convenient that Garuda's also here. Unfortunately, he took a whiz on the floor before he passed out. Now that our heroes are finally gathered together, Emeralita realizes her homeworld is well and truly fucked.
I should slit your throats. That's what I should do.
No, Rocco. You must believe in the glorious seeds. These people are the ones who were chosen.
Are you sure the seeds weren't meant for a more competent group of heroes, like maybe the cast of Red Dwarf? Oh well, now that they're here, might as well give them some exposition about what's going on.
Our planet was so happy. Until the Gavanas army came. Crushed by the Gavanas. We made a last request to the Jalusian god of Liabi. This is what he said. 8 will find the holy Liabi seeds. And those 8 will save us.
You know, if I hadn't seen the beginning, I'd swear she just dropped too much acid at a Midsommar festival. And again, I don't think the seeds picked the right heroes.
And these young men, they don't seem to me as if they could even handle a weapon.
That's right, we can't. Yeah. No wars for me.
Alright, that's not the end, but I wasn't kidding about the supposed heroes not wanting to get involved. At one point, I think Vic Morrow even tries to leave the movie.
We have to go out and search for the real heroes that are destined to save us.
Well, I'm sure if you ask nicely, Space Dandy will help you out. Not to worry though, not only do the rest of them agree to stick around, but Jack also says he can take him to the other heroes the seeds picked, like Japanese Maz Kanata? Hey, she wasn't even in the first Star Wars. Oh, my mistake. They gotta find the other heroes somewhere in the middle of not Tatooine and are led there by the world's tallest Jawa. Okay, actually, if you want to know what's really going on, Jack double-crosses Rocco and leaves him for dead in the middle of the desert, then sells Emeralita to the old lady in exchange for the money he needed. Jesus, those seeds really fucked up picking heroes. Who else did they have in mind, Ted Bundy? And if you were wondering why the old lady bought Emeralita...
So you could be the bride of my son!
Look, back in my college days, I got a little crazy, you know, experimented with some girl on frog stuff, but Space Roe v. Wade hadn't passed yet, so now I'm stuck with them. Oh, thank God, the villains are here to rescue Emeralita from the horrible situation the heroes put her in.
She's alive. Take her.
I don't know what they're planning on doing with her, but it can't be any worse than whatever kinky shit this thing had in mind. Great, so not only did the seeds pick complete duds for heroes, but now Emeralita's been captured. You know, I think the Jalusians' planet deserved to be conquered. But I know one thing that'll save the day. More space disco. Rocco managed to survive, and not only is he pissed Jack tried to kill him, he's also mad that he's the closest thing to a real hero in this movie, and so far he's been treated like shit. The only one who seems even mildly interested in helping the Jalusians is Maya, and I think that's only because she wants to go shopping there.
You want to be a war hero? I don't. And who needs this?
What are you doing? I hate you all!
Yeah, they are kind of assholes, aren't they? Don't worry, Maya, you got your own seed now, which means you don't need him anymore. Alright, come here, motherfucker. You're gonna take part in this story whether you like it or not. Actually, this is a dream sequence showing that Aaron's really in love with Emeralita, because... sure, why not? God, even the movie seems like it's struggling to find a reason to include these guys in the plot. Despite throwing their seeds away earlier, they end up getting them back, including Jack, who I'd like to point out tried to straight up murder Rocco and sell Emeralita into sex slavery earlier. Forget giving him another chance to be a hero, this guy should be in fucking jail, and not just for his crimes against fashion. But uh-oh, Aaron didn't get his back.
Take it easy. Be a little patient. You'll get one.
Hey, don't bother me. I'm not a kid. I don't even want one. It's not making so much noise. I can't get to sleep.
Is it too late to give the seeds to someone else? Like anyone else? Instead of the Death Star, the villain's lair looks like the most awesome action figure playset ever. So blah blah blah, tell us where the rebel base is or we'll blow up Alderaan. You know the drill. The Gavanas also discover the location of Earth and are immediately impressed by its educational nature slideshows.
Mother, don't you think that the planet Earth is the only suitable place for the Grand Palace of the Conqueror of the Universe?
So then it's agreed. He can build the Imperial Palace on Earth and get a condo for his mom in Boca Raton, Florida. Instead of sending out some ships, the Gavanas instead decided to just move the entire planet. I'm not sure where they're gonna put it once they get to Earth, but whatever. That's no moon. That's a space cache-in. I know I just compared the planet to the Death Star, but don't send ships out to destroy it yet. We're still only halfway through.
They want war. And they shall have it.
If people wanted to see that, they would have just went to Star Wars. Alright, well, at least I can kinda see some of the money they spent during this part. Although again, it really feels like we're getting the big climactic space battle at the wrong part. That'd be like if you put your big action sequence at the beginning of the movie rather than the end. Oh, hey, come on, that doesn't count. Well, looks like the ships have failed. Who can possibly save the Earth now?
Is he here?
Yes, we finally found him. He's in the bar. I'm afraid he's had a lot to drink.
Let's see if I can guess who it is.
General Garuda, my friend, how are you?
Ooh, how did I know? Look, Vic, we're an hour in and we really need a reason for you to still be in this movie, so could you help us out here?
You do your duty as a soldier, you hear? I'm not in the military anymore. I buried my career.
Ah, come on, Vic. You haven't buried your career yet. The last shark is still a few years away. What's this? Seems like someone put a hot coal in my whiskey. Oh, I was wondering why my throat was burning. Oh well, bottoms up. Oh look, more characters who haven't done anything heroic yet. I think they're confusing what movie they're supposed to be cashing in on since Shiro's dressed like he's in a Grease knockoff. That makes sense. This movie does already have a Frenchie. Come on, start being more like Star Wars, will ya?
I'm just not getting involved in this craziness like you guys, all right? And I'm just going to sleep. So just get off my back!
Great. Aaron's gone full Anakin Skywalker on us. The Gavanas drop by again and end up kidnapping Jack. I have no idea why, but at least now our supposed heroes have no choice but to get involved with the main plot line.
Henry, look! Look!
Ah, would you look at that. Aaron finally got his nut. Now he can actually be a hero. Hopefully. Jeez, they better hurry if they want to actually do something in this movie before the end credits roll. What, are they dead now? God, even when they try to be heroes, they suck. Bad news, I think you just landed on the angry red planet. Oops, my mistake, it's actually a Super Sentai show. This is Prince Hans, a Gavanan that rebelled against his people who also has a special seed. And because he was alone on this planet, I guess that makes him Hans Solo? Now whatever, that's basically the same joke the real Solo movie made. Hans is played by veteran actor Sonny Chiba, named after the thing you should be smoking to fully enjoy this movie.
My friends, I will follow the will of this seed. I will join you four in your mission.
Are you sure? 'Cause they haven't been very reliable so far. Anyway, what are the villains doing?
Earth, why are you the most exquisite sight my eyes have ever beheld? Why do you excite me? Why?
Does he want to invade the Earth or fuck it? General Garuda shows up to try and negotiate with the Gavanas, wearing his finest Liberace cosplay for the occasion. And because this is a Japanese movie, all negotiations are settled via Nintendo light gun duel. Well, that does it. Trying to take over the Earth is one thing, but cheating is going too far! Alright, since you won the duel, I won't destroy the Earth, but I never said anything about the moon. Alright, Alright, not quite as impressive as a Death Star, but you get the idea. Well, I was drunk enough to think I could pull off this outfit, so now I need to get so drunk I don't care that I'm not. At least Vic Morrow tried to do something. The other heroes haven't even got there yet.
Ready for firing position?
You know, if this were a 90s Power Rangers knockoff, that would look pretty cool. Hey everybody, I brought the heroes the Seeds picked. Yeah, I know, but we'll just have to make do, okay? Oh, and you'll never guess what their plan is to defeat the Gavanas. There's a small trench that leads to a reactor, and if they can send some small ships down there to destroy it, it'll set off a chain reaction that'll blow up the entire planet. Can't imagine where they got that idea from. Alright, I would make fun of this movie for recycling such an obvious plot point, but even the real Star Wars movies are guilty of that.
It's risky, but it might work. That tunnel is only 10 meters side to side. One mistake and you've had it.
Hey, we've gone tunneling lots of times.
Yeah, we used to bullseye womp rats back home. They're not much bigger than 10 meters. Oh, and the little black hole reject robot also gets a seed. Alright, still a better choice for a hero than Jack. Before they can destroy the reactor, though, our heroes get captured, because God forbid they be competent in this movie. And holy shit, Rocco's a traitor. It'd make a lot more sense if Jack was the traitor, considering he already tried to double-cross the Jalusians. But for some reason, this movie keeps trying to make him a hero. Not that it really matters, since Rocco has a change of heart about 5 seconds after it's revealed he's a traitor. So, looks like this is the closest we'll get to a Vader redemption moment. Oh, and the other twist is that he's really the 8th hero the Seeds picked. Not sure why they waited until right before he's about to die, but the Seeds don't exactly have the greatest track record so far. Alright, time for the big action climax, even though it kind of feels like we already had that earlier. Oh well, like I said, some of the model work and spaceship designs here are pretty cool. One thing's for sure, this beats the hell out of the final space battle from War of the Robots. Also like a Star Wars film, we get multiple action sequences happening simultaneously. Sonny Chiba even gets a sword fight next to some artwork from the Marvel Comics adaptation of the movie. Alright, time for Prince Hans to face off against Roxea. You know what? I think this part could use a little music. I decided to use an 8-bit version of Duel of the Fates because I didn't want the video to get flagged. You know, it doesn't matter that Roxea fell out of a window and exploded. He's still somehow gonna survive and make a cameo in Solo. Okay, time to blow up the Death Star, or planet, or whatever. I wasn't really paying attention. God damn, whenever it switches over to part shot on video, it looks like we're watching a bootleg of the movie somebody shot on their cell phone. Anyway, Eren and Shiro managed to blow up the reactor, but oh no, the Gavanas still have their flagship. What are they gonna do?
1, 2, 3!
Did they all just die? It's okay, they ejected at the last second. They're not gonna get killed off until the sequel trilogy. And so our heroes save the Jalusians' home planet by completely destroying it. Seems a little counterproductive, but hey, they are the heroes the Seeds picked after all.
Thanks to all of you here, we Jalusians are saved.
But since you blew up our planet, is it cool if we crash at yours for a while until we find a new one? Our heroes instead decide to help the Jalusians find a new homeworld, mainly because they're still wanted for that space cop's death earlier. Time to set space sail. Hopefully they brought enough lemons to avoid getting space scurvy. While it didn't lead to any sequels, there was a spin-off TV series called Message from Space Galactic Wars, which really made the whole Star Wars thing obvious with the title. It even decided to throw in a Chewbacca knockoff for good measure, cause fuck it, everyone can tell what we're doing by now. So there's the most expensive Star Wars knockoff I've done on this show so far. Bit of a shame they didn't spend more time on the script. Movies like Inframan and Star Crash had silly, nonsensical plots, but they also had an almost childlike sense of fun and enthusiasm that made them entertaining. Here, the plot really meanders all over the place, and like I said, the so-called heroes don't even really do anything until the movie's almost over, and some of them don't even end up doing anything at all. I still have no idea why the fucking robot was picked as one of the heroes. There's enough strange, colorful things happening on screen to keep your attention, but considering this was the most expensive Japanese movie ever made at the time, the effects range from okay to not as okay. I guess most of the budget must have been spent on Vic Morrow's booze bill. It's not the worst Star Wars cash-in I've seen, but considering Japan usually does this kind of grandiose space opera stuff really well, it's a little disappointing. But if there's one thing we can be grateful for, it's that they never made a Message from Space holiday special. That I'm aware of. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!